Pillar to Post on the 97.3 ESPN YouTube channel. Mike Gill and Tom Morgan with you after another night of Raw on Memorial Day. And we missed you last week. We had a lot of stuff going on here. But I'll tell you, the Elimination Chamber is coming up this weekend, and you're seeing the build-up. So there's so many topics that we're going to jump into today. So let's get right into some of the things. We had Payback. It's not Payback. Oh, my God. It might have. Actually, no. We did have Payback.
Yeah, we had Payback. Yeah, you're right.
Man, it seems like we've been gone for we had Payback, and then the Raw following, and now Raw last night, and now we have Elimination Chamber. Yeah. So we have so many things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. And I guess, the Payback, let's kind of touch on that real fast, because it was a couple of weeks ago. But that's kind of built up a lot of things that we're seeing leading up here. I thought it was a solid pay-per-view for a second-tier pay-per-view. I thought they, it had a lot of decent matches. I gave it about a B minus. I mean, It wasn't great, but it was pretty good.
You had a brief Shield reunion, of course, with the triple powerbomb on Randy Orton. You also had these guys wrestling for the WWE Championship. I was kind of thinking that these guys would wrestle for the championship at WrestleMania. You'd have like a Shield reunion there. Reigns versus Ambrose versus Rollins. So we got a taste of that, maybe.
We kind of talked about a possible Shield reunion.
Sure.
We kind of saw, you're right. We saw that the three of them, and then I thought that was pretty funny.
It was pretty cool. And, we kind of had that feeling like, ooh, wait a minute. Maybe they could turn on Randy Orton, and then whoever grabs the title most likely would be Seth Rollins. But I'm kind of glad they didn't. It was a great stable. I'm glad that they didn't. They're really trying to showcase these singles wrestlers. And Ambrose and Reigns are practically wrestling in a tag team, which is exactly what they did this past Monday on Raw.
Well, it's funny because Ambrose had been it looked like he was getting pushed down below the Intercontinental, and he wasn't winning any matches. Then all of a sudden, he seemed like an outcast in this match.
Right.
But I thought he really showed he belonged in that match. And I think Reigns, if you didn't like him being in the WrestleMania match, I think from where he's been, where he was, and where he is now, I think he's starting to show that he belongs. His matches are much longer. He's been much better in the ring, and he's getting a little bit better on the mic too. So He is developing himself. You got to kind of look and say, all right, they're developing these. Maybe they weren't ready, but now they're developing these guys into some legitimate main eventers.
Well, that's exactly what they needed to do. They needed to develop Roman Reigns. I think it was a little too quick to push him. I think we've talked about that a lot here on Pillar to Post. But I think that they're doing exactly what they need to do with Reigns. And, it'll be really interesting to see what they do with Dean Ambrose. It's like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You win 2 games, you're going to win the Super Bowl. Now he's getting these WWE title shots when he wasn't winning any matches. But he's got a great character. I don't foresee him winning the title at Elimination Chamber. But I could see him win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, well, and we'll get into that in a little bit because I think that's going to be interesting. This Elimination Chamber is going to be really interesting to see how they... It's not really a quote-unquote pay-per-view. You can't get it on your cable provider. You can only watch it on the network. So it's not really a pay-per-view. It's kind of a special event, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle this. Do they really change titles? Do they do anything major?
Sure.
But you're getting a major match, and this goes back to Payback where we saw Cena defeat Rusev and kind of end that, but Lana kind of got involved, and, so Cena wins that, and then Cena comes out, and then you see the appearance of Kevin Owens, the former Kevin Steen, and I'll tell you, what an appearance he made, what an impact he made, immediately, and now those two at Elimination Chamber. Would you really see Owens get thrown full-time onto the roster, or is it only just to make people want to get the network?
Sure.
I mean, how are they? That's what I think is kind of interesting.
I think it's a combination of both. I think the NXT roster is getting so good, well-seasoned. They're really doing this right with these guys. They're not going to push them straight to the title, unlike what they did with Miz and Sheamus. And even Wade Barrett, for that matter, even though he was in NXT for a while. They're really seasoning these guys. And, you're finally seeing Neville. We all heard about Neville. Now you're seeing him every Monday. And so a guy like Kevin Owens, this is going to be great for him in his career. It's going to make me want to watch NXT now. And by the way, speaking of NXT and Kevin Owens, how about Samoa Joe making his debut last week? How cool was that?
That was really cool. And it's interesting because... there's still some talk whether he's going to be full-time NXT. Is he going to go right to the roster? I mean, he's in his late 30s. I mean, he's no rookie. He's no green guy.
No.
This is a guy who has a well-known name, well-known character. And I thought it was kind of interesting that they kept the Samoa Joe moniker. A lot of times WWE likes to change their name.
Right.
And they kind of... introduced him as Samoa Joe. And it's funny because Josh Matthews, who used to be with WWE, he's now the TNA broadcaster. And I guess he took a little shot saying, hey, the announcer for NXT said, "Oh my God, it's Samoa Joe." And he's like, "I thought nobody knew who we were." Being like, "Hey, you obviously knew that he existed in TNA,
Right. Yeah.
who has their own problems, which we'll get into." But
Sure.
I'm interested to see if Joe is just going to get a couple matches down there to get himself back in, wrestling shape, or is he going to go right to the main roster?
Well, you'd be surprised at the amount of wrestlers that are in their mid-30s that are wrestling in NXT. I mean, Kevin Owens is a seasoned wrestler. We also have Adam Rose, which we found out on the 30 series. I mean, he's in his mid-30s. Ryan, yeah. So you're getting a lot of guys that are actually older than you think.
A lot of those guys, though, are used as enhancement, to be veterans to help the younger guys.
Well, yeah,
whereas
true.
Joe is coming in, and it looks like he's going right to the top of the
and
card.
I think this is a great way to get the NXT name even bigger now that you've got a wrestler that a lot of people know, especially when they watch TNA. He's a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
They always misused him over there, though.
They did. They really did, especially toward the end, But, I mean, God, who could forget those matches with him and Kurt Angle?
Awesome.
Those were great matches.
That was really established that product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right off the bat when he came in. So, I'm interested to see what they end up doing with him, and if Owens is going to make the jump from NXT champion, because I think it's interesting with Owens that Zayn is hurt, and there's not a lot of top card talent at NXT now because Hideo Itami's also hurt. So are they saying, all right, there's nobody really that makes sense for him on NXT, so we're just going to fast track him to the main roster, and you can't get fast tracked any faster than going up against John Cena.
No, you really can't. And I think it's going to be a very interesting match. I'd love to see Kevin Owens win cleanly. Unfortunately, it's not going to be for the United States Championship, but I'd love to see him win cleanly. What I'd like to see is maybe John Cena defend his U.S. title. And again, I'm on this Samoa Joe bandwagon, but I think Joe could be the one to grab that title maybe. But we'll have to wait and see. This U.S. Open Championship stuff, I love how he's giving everybody an open invitation. We saw that with Zack Ryder, the Long Island boy, coming back home. And put on a good match, put on a great match, but unfortunately, Cena won again. So,
well, and we've seen Cena kind of have really good matches in this challenge. He had the Neville match. He has had some really good, TV matches that have just been real solid pay-per-view level matches.
Sure.
So they're giving people an opportunity to get out there and showcase themselves with him. So I think they're really doing a good job with Cena in this role of getting a chance to give him 12 minutes on television and have a good match. And that's pretty good. I'm interested to see how long they keep him with that mid-card kind of title there. And let him just kind of be a middle of the card kind of guy.
It's given the United States Championship some prestige behind it. Not that it didn't already, but I think nowadays WWE tends to concentrate a lot, other than the world title, on a certain title. For a while we really had the concentration on the tag titles, and then that kind of went away for a while. And so now they're concentrating on the Intercontinental and the United States Championships. Daniel Bryan, of course, winning the Intercontinental title. Now it's vacated. Now that's up for grabs at Elimination Chamber, a vacant Intercontinental Championship, which I've got a pretty nice prediction as to who's going to win coming up this Sunday. But the United States Championship, what better way? You got John Cena, the star, the face of the WWE, carrying that title, an open challenge to some really cool things like Neville making his debut. We saw Kevin Owens make his debut. Some great matches with people like, even Zack Ryder, to Rusev, and the list goes on and on. So, I'd like to keep seeing this happen.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, another one, yeah. You're getting these guys starts, and that's how John Cena got his start, was against The Undertaker. Was against Kurt Angle, right. It was Kurt Angle. It was Undertaker backstage who congratulated John Cena. Taker was supposed to wrestle Kurt Angle that day, but it was John Cena instead. Sorry.
Well, and now we have Elimination Chamber coming up, and you've kind of got some interesting things with Kane. What's his role now? Where is he still kind of at here? Going back to Payback, So I'm wondering if they're going to kind of culminate that storyline with Kane and kind of give him a definitive angle or somewhere, because he's still kind of...
Yeah, I think they're really trying to play on the whole puppet thing, with him. He used to be this huge demon,
monster, right?
Raising hell. Now he's the guy who's basically speaking whatever Triple H and Stephanie says. And I think they're really trying to play on that. And you can see how he's kind of going both ways a little bit. So I think they're going to play that as long as they can. You're not really sure when Kane's just going to explode on Seth Rollins. I could see that happening, but then at the same time, this is corporate Kane. This is his character. He has no balls. Can I say that? No balls.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Right. It's you too.
And then a couple things. By the way, Tom and I were at the Atlantic City show, and it's funny, if you watched, I guess it was SmackDown this week or maybe Raw last week. I don't remember which one it was, but we saw in the Divas match, it was Naomi and Snooker's daughter.
Right.
What's her name?
Tamika Snooker.
Tamika Snooker.
Yeah.
Right. And Paige came back. We saw Paige in Atlantic City make the save. You almost saw the exact same thing play out on television. So they must have been practicing that whole thing where Paige came in, she saved Nikki Bella, and then
I had that feeling. You know, last time I said, let's see if you get a picture with Paige, and you were like, she's hurt. Well, guess what? She came out in Atlantic City. How about that?
Well, yeah, she made the return, and now she's back on TV, and her and Naomi look like they're going to have something going here. And then Nikki came out, so you might have a triple threat type of thing in the Elimination Chamber. I think they announced that, that the three of them are going to have an Elimination Chamber. And then you have the tag, and we interviewed Big E, and if you missed that interview, it's on our YouTube channel, so check that out, because we talked to him about having a Elimination tag team match, and he was like, I don't know how we're all going to fit in there, and I don't know, but 6 teams in this thing for the tag team. So we had a little premonition with him, and it looks like it came true, and they're going to see a Elimination Chamber tag team match. I don't love the teams in it. Look, Los Matadores, we don't need them.
Right.
Harper and Rowan, I would say, should be in that match, but if they're not going to win, then don't waste them. Don't make them look weaker. I think that if you're not going to use them to win, don't put them in there. But we don't need to see Los Matadores. We don't need to see this superpowers. I don't know that they're in that or not. I don't know the 6 teams that are in the match yet. But they're using Mandel as. I mean, they're literally calling them the superpowers. They have the music coming out. It's just so hokey. I don't love it.
Yeah, Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, Los Matadores, the Ascension, primetime players.
The Ascension's another one. I mean, what are they doing with them? They look like they've been jobbers, and now they're going up for the. They're ahead of Harper and Rowan. It doesn't make any sense. Who else is in that?
We had the Ascension, the primetime players, the Lucha Dragons, and Los Matadores, and of course Cesaro and Tyson Kidd against the New Day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really funny when, just like you said, the New Day, these are 3 guys that are in a pod together. I don't know, with Big E and those 2 guys fitting in that pod, that's going to be actually pretty funny. But it should be interesting. I agree with you on Los Matadores. We haven't seen these guys. We see them off and on TV. The Ascension, same thing. Primetime players making a comeback. They look pretty good in Atlantic City.
I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah,
the Los Matadores, look, they're good wrestlers. They're good performers, but they're not good on the mic. Nobody buys into them. The character stinks. They've changed characters so many times. No one's buying into them. No matter what character you give those guys, they're not getting over. I mean, they're not top of the card guys. They're just kind of they're time fillers.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll just have to wait and see. My prediction is I think either New Day retains Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, or this is the Lucha Dragons' time to grab the titles. That's just my opinion.
I wouldn't be surprised. These NXT guys getting the push and kind of going off of that. But I do think they like New Day with the way that they're getting the heat from the crowd. I think they're going to continue to hold on to the belts at Elimination Chamber. So
it's a good character.
That has been, and we'll get into the Elimination Chamber stuff and last night's Raw, which I will tell you, I have not seen. So when he tells me what happened, it's interesting for me to react because on Memorial Day, I totally forgot that we were on last night.
How drunk was Mike Gill?
Not very at all. I was passed out because I coached 6 baseball games over the weekend. But I'm very interested to hear. So it'll be cool to hear it kind of for the first time and kind of react to it. But NXT I saw last week with Samoa Joe come out, so I'm interested to see Wednesday's edition of NXT.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in that.
Well, to answer your first question, as far as Monday Night Raw is concerned, we did not see Samoa Joe. We did see Kevin Owens. We start with our first thing, though. Of course, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Kane, Joey Mercury, Jamie Noble, the Authority coming out of the ring. They're saying that Dean Ambrose has to sign the contract for him to wrestle for the WWE Championship by the end of the night, or there will be no title match. Dean Ambrose, of course, comes out. Roman Reigns also comes out later. We start to see a little chaos, a little Justin Bieber chants going for Seth Rollins as well. And we officially have a tag match. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Kane and Seth Rollins. The contract was not signed yet, and the winner is Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, of course. Which tells me, it's the Raw before a pay-per-view. When Dean Ambrose wins, when Dean Ambrose beats down somebody, chances are the other guy is going to probably win. That's just pretty much how the scenario goes. When one guy beats the other guy up before the pay-per-view, the other guy is going to
because you're trying to get the belief that yes, he could actually beat him. But I think that's what makes Rollins such a great heel champion right now, is because he's the beatable heel champion. He's the weasel. He's the guy who needs the help. He cheats. He's always trying to find a way, and that's what makes him a great heel champ right now.
Right. It's early 2000 Triple H, really, and I love how he's used the pedigree now, which is almost ironic because back then Triple H was the guy that everybody wanted to beat because he was the guy that was always hogging the titles. There was a little backstage stuff going on with us where we always thought, well, it's because he's married to the boss's daughter. And then we moved on to Rusev versus R-Truth. Guess who won that match?
I don't know how R-Truth is in that Elimination Chamber Intercontinental match. I mean, it's just not believable that he's not going to win it. That's the problem I have when you put some guys like that in there. You don't have believable participants. R-Truth is not believable that he's going to win. Los Matadores, they're not believable. You have wasted participants in some of these matches, and R-Truth is one of them. I mean, just think. R-Truth, I don't remember the year, but was in a main event picture with John Cena.
Yeah, he was.
And the little Johnny character, little Johnny character, whatever it was, he has not come back from that. I mean, he's still using whoop, there it is.
Yeah.
On the mic. I mean, that's
what's up? Yeah.
What's up is all right because that's kind of his thing. But
right.
He does it 3 times and then he says, whoop, there it is. I mean, seriously, dude? I mean, come on. He was in a main event picture with Cena a couple of years ago, and now he just is completely not believable.
Yeah.
Great worker, decent on the mic, but don't believe that he's going to.
Well, that's how they were, those hardworking guys, to put them in the Intercontinental title matchup. And
make him a tag team.
Make him a tag team again. He was great with the Miz, I thought.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we see a bunch of Lana drama going on. Rusev trying to get Lana drama. He's trying to give Lana a second chance, take my hand, but
who wouldn't?
Unfortunately takes his hand, and then, of course...
Although I think she wears too much blush.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't like the pink
and, of course,
either.
I think she's really American, so I can't wait till the real accent...
You think?
The real accent comes out.
She had a tough night last Monday.
Yeah, I saw that.
She was having a tough night.
You could tell she was like the American was coming out of her a little bit.
She was having a tough night.
So,
well, there's a lot of talk about turning her into a face and renaming her and repackaging her as her real name is CJ something or another.
Right.
But there's a lot of talk about turning her face and repackaging her. And the problem is she going to draw money? I mean, is she somebody that people are going to pay money just to see? I think you ruined a good thing. She was a great valet for Rusev. They were great, and now you're pulling them apart. Is she going to draw by herself, and is he going to draw by himself?
Yeah.
They drew because they were great together.
Right.
You split them up now. Are you ruining that? I think they're ruining a good thing.
Way too soon.
Yeah, she's not going to draw money herself.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't turn into. Remember when?
She's not Sable.
Right. Well, she could be.
I don't think she could wrestle like Sable.
Yeah. No. Alcardo Rodriguez. When he was with Alberto
Rodriguez,
okay,
and he went
RVD. Like it was awful. It was awful, and they turned him face, and he was partnered up with RVD.
That didn't work at all. By the way, when we were at the Atlantic City show, I don't know if you noticed this when we were walking out. The truck still had Alberto Del Rio's picture on it.
Yeah,
did you see that?
I did see it. Yeah. I wonder if it's just a house show truck or something.
I'm sure it is, but you're driving that from city to city. You're still putting his face on that billboard, and he's working for another organization right now, Alberto El Patron.
And by the way, Atlantic City was great, although we did see 2 people next to us completely passed out, like falling asleep during the entire show.
He was sitting there. If you're watching, we saw you live.
Yeah,
I will say this about it. It was great. You're right there, and it's a great venue. The sound system there was awful.
It was bad.
Awful. You couldn't hear the ring announcer.
Yeah, it was a lot. Although if we'd sat back further, I wonder if...
Yeah, we were underneath the sound system, so maybe that's it. But you got to do it. You can't have the people who are paying the most money not be able to hear the introductions and stuff. That was tough. But
it was tough.
We thank the WWE for setting us up in the Boardwalk Hall. A great venue to watch it. Just the sound system was not good for people that were sitting under the speakers.
Putting us in a pit of screaming Cena fans. Thanks, WWE.
You know why Cena's the man. I mean, you saw it again.
Man.
It was a good match he had, too, with Rusev.
Yeah, with the cage
steel
match.
Cage.
Yeah, it was good.
The ring seems small there, but I had read that that's the normal size ring. It's just the depth perception on television makes it look different. But I
don't know.
have a hard time
I
believing
had a hard time believing that. Too.
That was a small.
We were pretty close at Royal Rumble in Philly, and that looked a lot bigger.
Yeah.
You know, so we move on to another match that's teasing our Intercontinental match at Elimination Chamber: King Barrett versus Ryback. Winner Ryback, solid match, no complaints here. Triple H and Stephanie backstage talking.
Well, I'm real quick on that because those two are both in the Intercontinental Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if King Ryback or King Barrett will also carry the IC title and be both king and champion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any merit really to him holding a crown. I mean, King of the Ring was cool, and he won King of the Ring. But back when King of the Ring was cool, you got a title match at SummerSlam, right?
Yep.
So it's cool that he won the tournament, which more power to you. But now, he's going to be holding the King as well as the title if that happens. I don't know. There's not much into that whole King thing. But then again, who knows? Stardust versus Neville. Of course, Neville, this is a squash, but we did see Bo Dallas.
Stardust is really dropping.
Yeah, he's really dropping. And I don't know what, I don't know if it's the character. I don't know if it's Cody Rhodes. I don't know. But Bo Dallas comes out, of course, and tells Neville he just has to believe, and then, the rest you know.
Well, Bo Dallas and Neville, if you remember, had a great feud in NXT.
Yeah.
Neville beat
for the NXT title,
for
right?
the championship.
Yeah.
Bo Dallas was the first NXT champion. Neville beat him,
Mm-hmm.
and then Bo Dallas kind of went to the main roster, and he hasn't done anything since he's been here. Now he was hurt, but hasn't made an impact at all. So maybe we'll see if he can, show his potential. As many of you know, he's obviously Bray Wyatt's real brother.
Right. He did get slammed by Sting, though, and that WWE Network after Raw. That was the last time we saw Sting.
Last time we saw Sting. You think we'll see him again?
I think we will.
SummerSlam?
No, I think WrestleMania. I don't think SummerSlam.
Really?
Yeah. I think we'll see him against The Undertaker, and that'll be it. Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus.
Another of these warm-up matches when you're wrestling on the weekend. I mean, for the pay-per-view, they get you some warm-ups.
Yeah, and of course Lana getting involved with that as well. Rusev getting in the ring against trying to...
Oh, wait, I think Sheamus is going to win that Elimination Chamber match.
The Intercontinental title?
Yeah.
We'll see. U.S. Open Challenge, United States title Open Challenge is Zack Ryder versus John Cena, the hometown boy. Zack Ryder putting on a decent match, but it was John Cena with the win.
Cena, a couple of years ago, had given Ryder a kind of a push, with his Twitter followers and kind of...
when he had that feud against Kane. Yeah. So, and then the Entourage movie was there, too. And, of course, they came out trying to cheer on Zack Ryder as well. In fact, one of the cast members tried to interfere in the match, even. And John Cena kind of looked like a heel there for a second. So, I don't know. I was starting to see what happens. Tamina Snuka versus Paige. Of course, we're getting set for the Divas title match at Elimination Chamber.
You're telling me that Paige isn't growing on you?
Paige has grown on me. I'm just not impressed with any of these divas at all. I mean, I like Paige a lot.
Well, Paige is the best of the workers.
Of course she is. Yeah, I think it's the whole E show.
You gotta watch the NXT. I'll tell you, the NXT divas could do a total pay-per-view with just divas matches.
Oh,
the match on NXT Takeover between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch was maybe the best match on the whole card.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
Right.
They are two. The problem is you get 2.5 minutes or so on television, and then you got to get out of there. On this takeover, I mean, they got 12 minutes or so to do that match, and both of them are outstanding. You got Charlotte, who's Ric Flair's daughter. I mean, she's a great worker. They've got really good workers down there. I don't know how that's going to translate to when they get to the main roster, if they're going to give them more time.
Yeah, well, I think they're definitely wanting to season them and see what happens, but
they're ready. Sasha Banks is outstanding. Becky Lynch, by the way, who is maybe the best looking girl in the entire roster. She's more of my look. I don't know that everybody would think that. She is outstanding. She's Irish, too. She's got that real thick Irish accent.
Well, I feel like the emphasis is on the Total Divas show. So if you're not part of Total Divas, you're not going to get the emphasis on you as far as this Divas thing is concerned.
Well, they can almost have maybe an NXT versus the Divas and have...
Right. That would be awesome. That would be great. Yeah. And maybe put that at SummerSlam. So then you would showcase these NXT wrestlers. You get the real wrestlers versus the people who are just showcasing Total Divas. And I'm not saying that the Divas division can't wrestle. I'm just saying that if you're part of the show... You're getting the concentration on you.
Well, like Rosa Mendez, why is she still on the roster?
Right.
She hasn't won a match, I don't think, in her entire life, and I'm not kidding about that.
Right.
She can't wrestle. She can't do anything. I don't think she's very attractive. My personal opinion. I'm not saying she's ugly, but she's not. somebody that I'm like, I gotta see Rosa Mendez. You know, like
Right.
she doesn't bring anything to the table. There's so many better, more talented individuals that could come up there and be used for more, usable TV time.
Right. The handicap match, The New Day versus Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, Los Matadores, The Ascension, Primetime Players, and Lucha Dragons. This was a match set by Kane, and this was a true handicap match, but by disqualification. The New Day won. New Day rocks because everyone was storming in the ring and just beating everybody up. So, the end. And then, of course,
I'm down on the tag team division right now.
We go to, of course, earlier I mentioned that Dean Ambrose was arrested. He was arrested because he was...
Where have I seen this before?
Yeah, it seems familiar, but he beat down J&J Security and accidentally knocked over a cameraman. The cameraman was asked, do you want to press charges? But Seth Rollins answered for him. He pressed charges. He gets arrested. Cop car comes. The same cop car that took Dean Ambrose away comes back in the ring. Out comes Ambrose. He signs the contract. Roman Reigns and him go for the beatdown against the Authority, and there you go off the air. So Reigns and Ambrose stare back from the ring, and Elimination Chamber this coming Sunday on the WWE Network, exclusively on the WWE Network. I missed the Elimination Chamber. I used to think this was awesome. They used to have whoever either won the title or got a title shot, which was one of the two stipulations. Now we're going to have a great Intercontinental Elimination Chamber match. I think Sheamus is going to win. I would love to see Dolph Ziggler win, though. I really would. I think Kevin Owens is going to beat John Cena. I think Seth Rollins is going to beat Dean Ambrose. And as far as the Divas, I'm going to go with Paige. And New Day retains tag titles too.
Yeah, I think Paige. I think New Day. I said Sheamus earlier.
Right.
Who's Reigns in the match with?
I don't know. I'm assuming they haven't announced anything, so I'm guessing it's probably going to be Kane. I think it's probably going to be another match with Kane, probably.
Okay. So it's just Ambrose versus Rollins.
Yeah, that's it.
Rollins will continue to hold that.
Right.
I think the Owens-Cena match will end up in some kind of screwy finish.
Yeah.
I think Owens wins cleanly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean,
not yet.
You might see a Samoa Joe maybe come out. Surprise. I don't know. It's Elimination Chamber, so it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
But you're right.
It is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Owens just absolutely beats Cena to the point where he just can't. I don't want to say I quits but
right
where because I guess that's hard because Owens doesn't really have a submission move that would pass him out or something. I don't know. I don't know that anybody wins that match.
The WWE needs a true heel. I mean, they've got Seth Rollins who's doing an outstanding job, but they need another good heel. And Kevin Owens is a great heel. So I think it'd be great for Kevin Owens if he beats John Cena. I think it'd be great for the viewers because then they really get to know who Kevin Owens is. For those of you who don't watch NXT, and they need to kind of freshen up this roster a little bit. We didn't even see Bray Wyatt at all on Raw. So I think
he's been getting, I'm telling you, he was on SmackDown the other night. He's been getting a little stale with a lot of his promos because it's a lot of the same,
right.
I don't know. He's been a tough one too. He hasn't really lived to the expectations or the hype that you thought maybe he would have been this dominant heel character.
Right. So, and rumor has it that they're going to actually make Bray Wyatt into a face. So we'll see what happens.
Well, he's got the cell phone,
he's got the cell phones,
all that stuff.
But that's the thing. I mean, you could still be a heel and fans still love it. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the coolest heel, ever.
I wouldn't say he was a heel though. He was
at first he was.
He was more of like a badass rebel.
Right.
You know. When he made the heel turn at 13 against Bret Hart, when they both kind of the double switch,
right.
One went heel, one went face. When Stone Cold kind of aligned with McMahon.
Oh wait, that was against Bret Hart. When he aligned with McMahon, that was against The Rock.
Do I have two matches?
Yeah, I think you do.
Well, they had the double turn,
right?
Hart and Austin,
right?
Oh yeah, because
when he aligned with McMahon, that was against
corporate.
The Rock.
Yeah, he went corporate against The Rock.
Yeah.
Right. I think the Hart Austin match was at 13 when they both kind of did like the double turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't work though when he turned into the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, I mean, I think that you could still, back when the Authority was in the Ministry, I mean, it was still cool to see like The Undertaker and those guys. And it was cool when someone went corporate. It was cool when someone went NWO. It's still that cool factor. They still could do it, yeah. We're reliving the 90s here on
By the way, WWE Network pick on the ministry that I watched this weekend was the best managers. Percy Pringle,
right.
was one of the ones mentioned. They had, I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I'm only about an hour into it, but Freddie Blassie, Jimmy Hart, Sonny.
Which, by the way, she's not doing porn.
I thought she was thinking about it.
She's not. Yeah, she clarified that on her Twitter
She's probably
page.
better off.
Yeah.
How old is she now?
I would say probably getting close to her 50s, I would imagine. I would imagine. Yeah.
Real quick, TNA, there's a rumor that's not really been verified or there's no real solid statement from TNA. They put out a statement, but nothing really concrete, that they're going to be canceled from Destination America in September.
All programming,
This could be the end of TNA as we know it, which would be terrible news for wrestling fans. I mean, you don't want to see people out of jobs and stuff, but it appears that the problem is, Tom, they're the highest rated show on TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, on Destination America.
Well, what are your choices on Destination?
Well, but I'm saying they're the highest rated show there. They were the highest rated show on Spike. They can't sell it. They can't get the advertising, and the money that it costs to put on and produce that show is just too much money.
Even though they don't even travel. I mean, they do travel, but they don't even travel like the WWE travels.
No, they used to, but they were losing money hand over fist on that.
Right.
They can't get the advertising dollar because of wrestling just has a bad stigma around it, and they might go belly up. They might go under, man. I mean, and they've been putting on good shows,
right?
And they can't. They're the number one on Spike. They're the number one on Destination America, and they might go out of business because they can't get the advertising.
Well, I think losing Jeff Jarrett was a big deal.
You wonder if his global force is going to push them out.
Well, you never know. I mean, they're already lining up, the wrestlers who have been out of TNA or out of WWE for a while. So he's already lining, he's done it before. He started a promotion from the ground up. I don't think anybody's going to beat WWE anymore. I don't think, you're never going to get a WCW that's going to take Vince for his money, unfortunately, because WWE is just owning so much.
What about this? What if Global Force, or TNA for that matter, got a CM Punk?
That would be huge. It'd be like WCW getting Hogan.
But I'm saying, you were saying I don't think there'll be a WCW.
Reason
WCW,
we won't see that, but you won't be for a long time.
The reason WCW was able to go against WWE is because they got Hogan.
They got Hogan, Savage, and Nash, and all those guys.
They got it, and it was like, whoa, wait a second, I've seen these guys before. I know these guys. That's why you watch WCW. And now, TNA really, a lot of people say they need to establish their own identity, build their own stars. But what if they got a CM Punk? What if John Cena went to TNA?
Oh my God. I mean, you would literally save the entire promotion just by that acquisition alone.
Right. Or any other global force Ring of Honor.
You remember back when, I think it was back in 2007 or 8, TNA went through a really good roster.
They have a good roster now.
They do, but they added a bunch of people all at once. Like they had Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle debuted. Then you saw Bobby Lashley in his first run with TNA after winning the title and having that WrestleMania Trump versus McMahon thing that Lashley was a part of. You had Mick Foley there. You had Ric Flair that came in. Sting,
Hogan.
Yeah,
they've had big names.
They had some big names, but it's just not. It's not doing it.
Now they have the Hardys.
Right.
Are there. Austin Aries. They've got Kurt Angle as the champion there.
Right.
Lashley's there. MVP.
Yeah.
The Wolves are outstanding. Bobby Roode's very good. James Storm. Samoa Joe is there.
Right.
AJ Styles might be the best wrestler in the world. In terms of technical, they've got good talent and good names. I don't know what the problem is there. I mean, their shows have been pretty good. I mean, this channel is a problem, but when they were on Spike, they were drawing about 1 million viewers, and now they've lost 40 million homes because of it. But they could. I mean, I would think that this is going to be a death blow for them.
It's a death blow, and then you got, and we talked about this before. You have some of the producers and the wrestlers complaining they're not getting paid. I mean, even Eric Bischoff and Garrett Bischoff are guys who have said that they haven't gotten paid for some of their services. So, it's a big deal. And, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, Destination America, as soon as I found out that they're going to be moving over to Destination America, I thought that was going to be the beginning of the end for them.
Well, and the problem is, yes, it is.
Right.
But they're still the highest rated show on that channel, that network.
What else do you have on Destination?
Doesn't matter.
You have all TNA programming.
Nobody watching any of your other shows. People are actually going to find this particular show, and they still can't survive.
Right.
So, the answer, the question will be, well, what else do they have? It doesn't matter what else they have. No one's watching anything else they have. They are coming to watch this.
Right.
So, they can't sell it.
Yeah.
No.
So we'll wait.
It's a shame.
We'll wait and see. I personally would love to see someone like Robert Roode or a AJ Styles in the WWE. I think that would be really cool.
Well, that would be interesting. What would be better off, having two separate promotions like we had, or just saying WWE, just get bigger and get more talent and continue to just have better and better talent and better storylines? I don't know. Is too much?
Yeah, and we kind of went through that with the whole invasion angle. It felt like there was too much. And I think now the WWE is housing and seasoning their own stars.
Right. That's why the Samoa Joe thing is very interesting.
That's why it's so big.
They typically haven't gone to TNA. TNA has lost some really big names. WWE hasn't.
Right.
I can't. What's the guy in the New Day?
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods was in TNA.
Right.
Other than him,
R-Truth was in TNA.
Yes, very shortly. So was Christian.
Right.
But they were WWE first, then went to TNA, and then came
Right.
back. Nobody has really started at TNA and then gone to the other.
Right.
Now, TNA has a couple, like EC3 was in developmental with WWE,
right,
and then went to TNA. Bram, also, who's married to Charlotte, was NXT, and then he went to TNA. So a lot of these guys felt like maybe they weren't going to get the push in WWE, so they went to TNA, and they might be blacklisted,
There, yeah. CM Punk, of course, a short run on TNA before he went to WWE.
Very short run.
Very short run. And that was before CM Punk became CM Punk, too.
Right.
So.
But you would love to see, I would love to see some of the guys in TNA in feuds with some of the WWE guys. Maybe that's a show we can do down the road. Like, which TNA guys would you like to see a feud with WWE guys? But, all right, Elimination Chamber on Sunday.
Yeah.
So a special event Sunday night. The Elimination Chamber is back, and I got to go watch Raw to get ready for it.
I have to watch Elimination Chamber this Sunday and watch NXT this week and see what we're going to see with Samoa Joe. I have a network, yes. No, I don't have the network. I don't have that. I don't have time. But I do make sure I watch Raw, and I am keeping up with everything online. But it's hard, man. When you're getting up every morning and doing it. Okay, I'll shut up now. Anyways, Pillar to Posts. Follow us on Twitter at 97.3 ESPN, and also at Tom Morgan 1049. Pillar to Post airing weekly on the 97.3 ESPN YouTube channel. I think I stole your lines there. That was your job, right?
I'm still on vacation.
He's still on vacation. Pillar to Post for Mike Gill. I'm Tom Morgan. Peace.